Hello, I'm Sheila Myers with Stamping Wishes, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, if you followed my blog, you would have joined in on the blog hop I'm participating in. Today's theme was to honor a design from our upline, Dawn Griffith, and the one I chose I found back in her files around 2005, I believe it was, and this is my version of her flip-out card using our new bundle available starting August the 1st while supplies last, called Blended Seasons. This is how the card works, and then we'll get into the supplies. But it opens up, and there's your greetings there. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so this is the bundle that's going available August the 1st while supplies last. So that's really important, that if you're going to get this set, you need to get it quickly. I don't believe it's supposed to be available until August the 31st, but I don't know that they have enough to last that. I don't know, but I would get it early on to make sure that you don't miss out. It's got these beautiful stitch framelits in 3 different sizes. It's got your bows, some of this foliage there, fall leaves, flowers. I mean, just beautiful. And this one is for, it has a bell that you'll see here in a second. Here's one of the stamp sets here, which shows you the leaves and the hollies and the bells, couple of the Merry Christmas, and here's another part of the stamp set. It's all gorgeous and works beautifully with our blends. In addition to using those stamps, I have featured also the storybook. Let me find it here. The Sweet Storybook, which is our little mice, and then this green foliage that circles around them. I also, for the greetings, I'm using Snowflake Sentiments, which is may the miracle of Christmas fill your heart with joy, and wishing you a season of joy, a season of cheer, but most of all, a wonderful year. In addition to that, right here in the center, using that new color of ours, Merry Merlot, I used the Merry Christmas from this stamp set, and then I used To You and Yours and combined them together. Okay. The stamp colors that I used today in the greeting, the wording there, was the Merry Merlot, and then the basic gray was used to outline the mice, and then for the inside greetings. Smoky Slate was the color filled in for it, and then the green leaves, I used the stamping pad Green Apple Green. In addition to that, which we'll do at the end, you'll notice, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I did use this Wink of Stella to really get some glitter going on. Even though we are using shimmery white, it just gives us that much more glittering. Okay, so let's go over the measurements right now. We have one piece that measures and I did use shimmering white. You could use, if you wanted to, because this is going to kind of be in the background here. This is the portion that folds in. So if you wanted to, you could use Whisper White, but I went ahead and kept everything uniformed and used my shimmering white. It's one of my favorite color cardstock. I mean, the the shimmering white color stock cardstock. Okay, in addition to that, we have 2 of the Real Red. They're cut at 2 3/8 by 3 7/8. Then we have 2 of the Shimmering Whites that are 2 1/4 by 3 3/4, and I'll have all this on my blog as well. And I did leave us one of them that I didn't color in yet, just so that we could color that together on film. But for saving sake of time, I did do a lot of this ahead of time. Okay, so then we have another shimmery white, which was cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And what we did on this was it was one piece like so. I got my Stamparatus out. I took and first stamped the livre with the Granny Apple Green. Then I came in and spaced the mice, the outline of the mice, in that they would fit between the leaves, and stamped them. And then I came back with the smoky slate, which is what filled this in. And where it's important for the Stamparatus to be used is that if any of these colors don't come out as vivid as you would like, then you can take and go back over them several times. And that's what I did a couple of times on the leaf so I could get a nice solid leaf color there. And then the same thing on the mice. And if you notice, sometimes when you're doing that, I kind of got a couple of different shadings going on, some lighter here and then some darker there, which I thought was real pretty. And then you'll take and run it through the Big Shot, and using the second framelit end is the size that you'll put that. And then that you'll take this out, and this becomes the inside of this frame area. Okay, so on this one, you'll take your 4 1/4 by 11 inch olive cardstock. You're going to score it at 5 1/2 inches. You'll take and your DSP is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. You'll go ahead and adhere that, and I did use the wet glue so I could get all of my edges down firmly. And then I ran it through the Big Shot, opened up like so, with the largest of the framelits right here. And then we get this piece that comes out, so this leaves this framed, and then this will come across here and be assembled there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started putting this together and go from there. So let's go ahead and color in. I'm going to use the 2 shades of Old Olive and the red for our leaf and for the berries there. So let's start with our lightest, and I like to use the larger tip when I'm covering more areas, and I always do on the edge of it because I don't want to break down the nib of my blend. And if I'm working in a small area like this that I can work fairly fast with, then I'll go ahead and color the areas like I just did. If I'm working on a larger one, then I'll only color one section at a time. So then we're going to take the darker one and just kind of come up the edge of it, wherever you're going to want to spread that dark out. And then I'll come back and blend outward this way. I didn't look like I didn't blend these others, so I'm going to blend them in while I have this out now. And then in this one, we're going to go ahead and blend the darker out using our lighter color. Okay, and then for the reds, we're going to make our little berries in a circular motion. And then for a little bit of shading on those, I just used the thin end of the darker red and came around kind of in a circular, again, kind of leaving the inside of my berries to have a little bit of a sheen on them. Okay. So let's go ahead and adhere this to our pieces of red. Before we do that, though, let's go ahead and at the opposite corners of this these 2 pieces, I went ahead so that the red would come through. I went ahead and stamped the opposite corners where the foliage wasn't. And for this one, let's go ahead and do it from this corner to this corner. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and in my first card, you'll notice I had used kind of the rounding corners on one piece of it, but I really kind of prefer the squared off look. That's why we're not going to use it this time. Had I done all of my pieces probably in the round off, I would have liked it, but I kind of like it being a little bit more uniform. Okay, let's set these aside and go ahead and score our piece that's going to go into the center so that we can assemble it. Now this is scored at 4 and then at 8, so let's go ahead and pull our arm out and come in here and score, and then at 8 and score. And let's go ahead, we're going to be doing a mountain fold, or I'm sorry, valley fold, and then a mountain fold here. Okay, and use your bone folder and let's press those and get a nice crisp. And as you can see there, the way this is going to lay in, it's going to be like so. And so, for example, when we go to put this together, we want to bump up this piece evenly there. And this piece will come down like so. And then you'll take and use this. You'll put your glue here. And then this one will go right on in the center there, so that when you lift it up, you've only got your pieces where we need it to be, okay? So let's go ahead and adhere this. And we're only going to be doing that bottom. We're not doing, if you notice in this card, we're not doing that second piece, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure we've got that pretty well even, and it does look even. Okay, and while we've got it open, let's go ahead and adhere these pieces in to the inside here. This one will go over here, and then this one will go over here. So let's go ahead and do that. And try and center those in the best you can within those pieces. And another reason I like to use the shimmering white all the way throughout instead of combining the whisper white and the shimmering white is the shimmering white is a little bit of what I consider kind of an off-white, whereas our whisper white is kind of a bright white. And I feel like this way all my colors combine together like they should. So let's go ahead and as I said, we're gonna, it'll come out like so. So let's go ahead and on this one, because it's mechanical, I want to go ahead and use my liquid glue. Gives me a little bit of time to maneuver if I have to, but I feel like it too will hold on a little better than probably the snail will. Okay. So let's bring this in here and make sure we get it right down into the slot where we cut it from. Okay. And then when we pull this out, it will pull out with it. Pretty, isn't it? Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and put the embellishments on and get our center glued on as well. So let's go ahead and adhere it. And I think we'll go ahead and use the liquid glue as well, just to kind of get into those edges really well so nothing is trying to come up with it. Being a mechanical card like that, sometimes if you don't get a good adhesive, it's going to pop open on you. So we don't want that to happen. So let's go ahead and put that here. All right. Really looking nice. Now what I did with the bow here is I cut out using the bow shape here with my silver glimmer paper, and then I took the mold of that, which is here. You'll notice it here, and I took a red scrap piece of red, and I went ahead and drew out the solid bow, and just cut it out, and that's what we have as our background here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some glue on it and adhere it. I usually use my regular silicone sheets, and I had a class recently and I haven't put everything back, so it was a little bit difficult to find some of the stuff as I was starting to film this today, so we're going to make it do with this other piece. And place that right on the, line it up with it. And of course, if you need to trim it at all, once you get it all lined up and stuff, you can do that. Looks like we could probably trim just a little bit off the bow tie area there. There. Okay. And let's go ahead and place this on with one of our mini dimensionals. Well, I've covered them up somewhere too, so let's just go ahead and we'll just cut into one of these dimensionals and make it work on the back there. If you hear thunder in the background, we are starting to get a storm rolling through, which we absolutely need this rain. So I welcome it as long as it doesn't have the electricity go off on me in the middle of this. Okay, place the bow right there. And let's go ahead. I knew if I moved something around, I'd find it. There's my mini dimensionals. We'll still need to use those though shortly. So let's go ahead and add us a jewel right in the center of our bow. Okay, and now we have our piece. Now we had our piece. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing today, but I seem to be losing everything. So this is the next piece that we want to add here between the mice, as though they're holding a holly leaf together. Okay, so we're going to put a small mini dimensional on it. And add it right about here. So it looks like they're holding it. And let's add us a few little more jewels there. All right, so for our finishing touches on the card, let's go ahead and use some of our Wink of Stella and color the leaves, and may color also the inside of the bow. And two, when you're using your Wink of Stella and you're going to change between colors, just to make sure that you haven't gotten the color onto the tip of this, make sure that you wipe that off on your scrap paper. But if you see, it kind of deepens the colors when I use this, as well as gives it that beautiful shimmer to the card. Probably should have done the Wink of Stella before I put my bow on, but this will work. We can get around it. Okay, let's make sure there's not there. And let's go ahead and put some around the inside of our ribbon so that we get a little bit of glimmer there. And then let's go ahead to the inside here and put some on our holly leaves and our berries as well. This ink seems to be dried fairly well, so it doesn't seem to be moving color between, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable with not wiping it off in between the colors. And if you wanted to add some rhinestone or jewels, they would be pretty here as well, but I think we'll leave it off. It might help to keep the card closed in a little bit better. So here we are. Isn't it gorgeous? Let's get this out where it opens up correctly there. And there they are, both of the cards. Well, thank you for stopping by, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you would like to see more of my videos, if you'll hit the subscribe button below, and also follow me on my blog. There's a connection over there. I have more of the cards usually posted there than I do on the videos. I'm still new at videoing, so I'm not doing quite as many. But have a blessed day, and thank you.